Here's a brief summary of the Patticca Samupada using the map. I'll put a 5-minute gong on just to limit the talk's duration. This will be a 5-minute talk. So we tend to start with ignorance as the first of the 12 stages, which is starting here, which is misinterpreting. This is in the perception group. Misinterpreting, assessing, judging and summarizing, and identifying. So when these are misinterpreting, we see something and we misjudge it as a threat. For example, this is ignorance. And when we assess, but we assess wrongly, and so we think we know, but we don't actually. We're knowing wrongly, or we just don't know, or we just don't want to know, and then we judge, and we can judge with error. So that will cause suffering. And then also, when we identify something and we identify it wrongly, as either something that we really want and need, but we actually don't, or we hate something wrongly based on a wrong assumption, and if we compare and we investigate and we come up with a wrong conclusion, and we prejudge something, and so on, all these are the first stage, which is known as ignorance, but is a bit of a heavy term. Perception 1. This conditions how these stages will arise. All these are the sankharas. These are the mind states here. So where the attention will go to, and what it will be looking at, and what its intention will be. These three things are governed by the degree of vicca or avicca, of knowledge and correct perception, clear perception, or muddled and confused perception. So that governs this level, what we'll be looking at and how we'll be looking at it. Now, if these are governed and accompanied by mindfulness and agitation and a lack of moral caution and moral fear, we just don't care whether something's going to happen afterwards as a consequence of what we're doing, then this will happen, unmindfulness will happen governed by high level of ignorance. High level of ignorance governs this arising, plus one of these other ones, plus desire or plus hate or plus some of the moha group, the don't know group, such as pride or cruel jealousy. So supposing it's cruel jealousy that arises as the mind state, accompanied by agitation and unmindfulness, and don't care if it hurts someone or don't care if it gets me in trouble later on, that will just arise together with it, and those will govern these. The basic life force, the kind of metabolism of the organism, the intention, the attention, and what we're focusing on. The opposite way, if there's high wisdom rising and lack of ignorance, then in the opposite of that, 9 will be joy. So joy will be arising together with mindfulness, collectedness, and high moral caution. And then that will be a mind with lightness, tranquility, and so on. So these ones govern this. This then governs what we're paying attention to, and that, for example, would be the I in that case. So if cruel jealousy goes to the I, then the I consciousness is contacting the I. I'm paying attention to it, and the three contacts together. So this is the next stage of the Patticca Samupada. So we have avicca pachaya sankhara, sankhara pachaya vijnana pachaya nama rupa, which is the object and the contact all together, the actually seeing of the person. So that's the nama rupa pachaya passo. So passa is the three coming together, which is contact. So this takes the eye consciousness takes the object and the organ all together, and that creates a feeling, say, of irritation or a displeasedness. Irritation of the organ and displeasedness of the mind. So those are arising together. And based on the irritation and displeasure, if there's no mindfulness, if the unmindfulness has come together with the cruel jealousy, then craving of a type of non-being, say, happens, that you want to not be there, and therefore you don't want the other person to be there. And the first stage is craving. Gripping happens, it assumes control. The object assumes control, apparently. And then resistance happens. And that leads, say, to hate. So that would be the next stage. So when the craving and the gripping happens, this drives round ignorance again. So those push, and this is called the kilesa vata. These are the round of defilements. Craving and gripping happening. Simultaneously, that causes ignorance to arise. As that three happens, the vacuum arises, and that creates resistance. So that's the basic Patticca Samupada arising around when it's dependent on the eye organ in that case. That's the first lesson of how the Patticca Samupada is shown on here.